Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Jared Moon. The Garage Gym Athlete Podcast is a result of my desire to build better humans, unequivocal coaches, and autonomous athletes. I've spent the last several years obsessing over program design, nutrition, and every other way you can optimize human performance. This podcast distills the latest scientific research with what I've learned and blends it with the not-so-scientific field of mental toughness. We are here to build you into a dangerously effective athlete. If you enjoy this podcast, you can find out more about our training at garagegymathlete.com. And if you want to pursue more into the field of coaching and programming, head to endof3fitness.com. Thanks for listening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Jared Moon here with Joe Courtney. What's up, Joe?
Not much, man. Excited for today.
Yeah, me too. We have Theo Burgess here. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. It's a good day. It's a good day.
You have one of the coolest, we'll have to send a picture. I know people have seen pictures of it, but the coolest backgrounds for backdrops for a garage gym. And I'm sure we'll get into it. But let's first get the basic intro stuff, and then we can talk about how you created such an awesome space. But, what you do for a living, how you train, where you're from, all that good stuff.
Excellent, man. I'm a public school teacher, secondary. I've been a middle school English teacher for probably about 10 years. I was an administrator. I moved up to administration for about 5 years as a dean. Didn't like that. Not enough, in my opinion, positive experiences with kids. So I moved back to the classroom in 2018 as an English teacher. And then this school year, the COVID year, this school year is my first year after getting my CrossFit L1 and my NASM. I'm a strength and conditioning coach at a high school, Desert Oasis High School. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool, man. So where exactly are you located?
I'm in Las Vegas, baby.
Nice.
Vegas. Yeah.
So not the weather's probably not too bad there, other than getting hot. I'm sure it gets hot.
Nah, you know what, man? It gets a little chilly, but yesterday was 72. That's not the chilly, but have bouts of really good times. You know what I'm saying? But
it's kind of like Texas. It's like spring really starts late January, early February.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get this random freeze like we did. But yeah, most of the time it's pretty awesome.
I'm from Baltimore, so I moved out here specifically to get out of the snow from Baltimore, and I went to school in Pittsburgh. Just like I'm over.
Oh yeah.
No more of that. I got my Maryland flag shorts on right now.
That's my man. So you're always rocking the Ravens stuff.
No, I'm not a Ravens fan, but I always have the Maryland flag stuff on everything.
There you go.
He's a Maryland fan.
The Maryland flag
in general.
Is beautiful. It's a beautiful flag.
That's awesome. All right, man. Well, what do you have in your garage there? What's your setup?
Excellent, man. I have squat rack and homemade deadlift platform. Boom, as you can see right there. Courtesy of American Barbell. I got a Z-Bex rower, Rogue Echo bike, some bands and things, and some bumper plates and boxes waiting to get busted out. A couple some adjustable dumbbells. I try to kind of have it all without taking up too much space. That's the toughest part. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it looks like this is a one-car garage.
It is. Yep.
That's great, man. And so tell me a little bit more about this backdrop. Did you do that yourself?
Yeah. So I moved into the house in summer 2019. And by the time November came around, me and a neighbor made the deadlift platform. And then Thanksgiving break and Christmas break, a guy that I used to work with, who's an art teacher, came by. And I already, I don't know if anybody else does this, but I had already named the gym. You know what I'm saying? People like, the pain cave and this. And I was like, I don't know about the pain cave. I don't know if I understand that one, but I don't know if I want to name it that. But I was like, the Matrix to me makes the most sense, because it's like when you step in, you can be whomever you want to be. You know what I mean? You just got to put in the work. There are no limits, only in your mind. And so I showed him this, I'm not very artistic, this rudimentary drawing of what I wanted. And he was like, yeah, okay. So we painted the walls black. He wanted to do the whole garage, and upon second thought, maybe I would have done that. But he made some stencils, and he got the airbrush. And then let me brag a little bit. So if you can really look at it, there's ones and zeros everywhere.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Patterns. But then we made like some custom stencils. You can see like there's Theo. There's
that's cool.
My son Kayan, that's his name right there. Right. My wife's name is in here is Stacy, right there. And then my daughter's name Gianna is in here. Right there. So like we just kind of mix that stuff in there in the matrix, in the code, so you can't really see it unless you're looking for it.
That's awesome. Really cool.
He hit it up with glow in the dark paint at the very top, like where it says matrix. It's glow in the dark paint. So when I come out here in the morning, and once the garage overhead lightly actually closes, it's pretty dope. It's like a little club.
That's an awesome space, man. I think, putting that level of detail in there is so cool. And we'll definitely have to share a picture with everybody listening. If you guys are like in the Facebook group or whatever, we'll have to make sure that people can see that as well. But it's just such a cool thing. Like, I think when you step into that squat rack, I almost would feel like I'm, entering the matrix or going to a new place. It's pretty awesome.
It covers your peripherals and stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's you know what, man? You know how this goes. Like when you put work into it, you want to continue using it and get work out of it. You know what I mean?
100%. So what was the big reason behind starting a garage gym for you?
Well, I was a college athlete. I played football my whole life, basketball, track, and then in college I played football at Robert Morris University, small school in Pittsburgh. When I got out of school in 2003, workouts, here and there. I was kind of burned out on football or whatever, but fast forward a long time. I was going to Globo gyms. You know what? Probably just where it started. So 2010, of course, I was in Vegas, bad breakup. You know how this goes, right? So I started running. That's how I first started. So I started running a mile every day. Let me just run the mile without stopping, right? I kind of build myself up that way. And then eventually, as life continues to progress, wife, children, let me get to the gym. I'm a global gym person, like 24-hour fitness, LVHC, Las Vegas Athletic Club, stuff like that. But as I was an administrator, the hours so unpredictable. The only thing predictable about them is they're long, and you never are done with your work. And it became, I wasn't able to work out for like 2 years. I only in the summers or on winter break, stuff like that. I couldn't wake up at the right time or leave at the right time because it's always an emergency. And so when we moved into this home, we had this home built like we're in a brand new neighborhood, stuff like that. So in a brand new home, I was like, we didn't really need to move. So I was like, look, if we're going to move, I want one of those garages for a gym. That's my only condition. I was like, I want one of those garages for a gym because I don't want any excuses about not working out. I want to have my own space. I'm not handy. I don't need to be in there with a saw and a drill and none of that. I need to get in here with some heavy iron. And she agreed. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And how do you like the one car space?
Oh, I love it. I mean, would I take the 2-car? Of course. I could always fill it out with more equipment, but with the 1-car space, you know what, man? It's cool. It's not connected to the home, so I get cold for 7 seconds while I walk outside to come to the garage. But I like it because I can work with 1 or 2 other partners in here. I work with my brother and sister. We've done it. And my son, we put my son, he's 7. We've done stuff in here, a lot of stuff. So I totally enjoy it. Even though it might be like small by some people's measures, it doesn't really affect the footprint of the house. So it's never something that anybody is like resentful for or anything.
No, I think it's plenty big. When we were looking at houses in Texas, we came across this one house. it was just such a perfect setup for me because it had an office inside the house, and then you walk out of the office and you open a door, and the door opens to a 1-car garage exactly like that. And I was like, I don't know if you like the rest of the house, but for me, I'm good. Like, it's got an office like right there next to the garage. Like, I'm good to go. She ended up not liking some of the other features of the house, but it was I was completely prepared to go 1 car. I was like, this is enough space. We're not parking any cars in here. It's just going to be 100% garage gym. She's like, all right, but we didn't end up doing it. So I think it's awesome.
Man. Sometimes, man, that's the perfect setup. Sometimes you get it.
I mean, so what are some of your goals right now?
You know what? That's probably goal setting is probably one of the toughest things. Fitness tends to be like one of those kind of things where like, I want it all, man. I want it all. I want to lose weight. I want to be shredded. I want to be super strong. I want to look like the Hulk. You know what I mean? So I've learned to kind of go one thing at a time. And really right now I am focused on just being more lean. Stop focused so much on the scale, which is like a fickle friend, more so about the process of I'm on the shred track of cutting body fat so that I can work out. I like the shred track because it does have a good cardio base in it as well. So lose body fat. I need to get my cardio, my running, specifically my 1 mile, my 5K time back to an acceptable level. And really, I'm not so much worried about time as I'm about feel. I just the way to feel, you know what I mean? Like running it with strength and finishing with dignity. You know what I mean?
Right.
Those are my current goals. That's what I would say. Those are my current goals. Try to get to 15%.
I love the differentiation there between like how you could finish a 5K. I know every time because I was not really in running shape in the Air Force. I mean, I could run, but I wasn't truly in running shape. So I'd finish the 1.5 miles, which is the test that they do. Mm-hmm. And I would be like dry heaving on the sidelines. Like it looked awful. Like the whole experience was bad. I'd get a pretty good time though. But then the real runners, you're talking about finishing with dignity. They like blaze. They'd have an awesome time. And then they'd just be like looking at me like, what's wrong with that?
What's up with this guy? Yeah. That's not necessary, Jared. Yeah.
I get what you're saying there, and it comes with time. So
I just got to put some more focus into. I think on my days off, I love the zone 2. It's just tough to do zone 2 while running. You know what I mean? Or jogging. I'm sure I see all the chats about that stuff. So yeah,
you throw a hill into the mix, and you're walking already. It's
Vegas doesn't have hills.
Yeah, probably not. All right, man. So we got a short glimpse of it. So kind of what was the athletic background pre-working out in your garage?
Before I worked out in my garage, football player like my whole life. You know what I mean? So the funny thing about us in high school, we were terrible. In Baltimore, Maryland, we were not a good football team. And I found out later, once I went to college, that a large part of that was because we didn't lift weights. So, this is like 90. I graduated high school in 98. So 94, 98, plenty serious schools were lifting weights. We were not. We were more of a soccer lacrosse school. We were getting pounded week in, week out. When I got to college, I looked around and was like, oh, my God. Oh, that's what these guys have been doing. Okay, this is probably why we were losing all the time. And then so I started getting into the weight room, and this is like 99, 2000. YouTube's not out there. You're just kind of picking up whatever workouts. Hey, the big guy's doing it. Let me do what the big guy's doing. And by the time I graduated, I put on like 25 pounds. I looked pretty good, and then after I graduated, it was kind of like, how do I fit that stuff into my regular life? And that was its own challenge. Without real support or burning desire, I guess, it was kind of very inconsistent. So I think by the time when I moved out to Vegas in 2007, and then I started running on my own in 2009, that was when I started, I'm making this a daily habit. And really, it's just time for myself. And so it started with running. I started in 2009 with the running. And then by the time 2012 came, I ran a half marathon. And it kind of culminated like a lot of my running there, because probably about midway through, I was like, I'm never doing this again. I did not have fun doing the half marathon. But nevertheless, like, as my wife will tell you, like, I'm always doing something. And if I haven't worked out for like 2 days, I'm not real fun to live with. So I'm kind of grumpy. And so, like, I'd say I did some CrossFit for about a year and a half at a local gym, like directly before moving into this home. And before then, it was all Globo gyms, just kind of get a program off of Men's Health or whatever and try to work that out. So when I found Garage Gym, I was like, well, first of all, the name is perfect. I think I'm its target demographic.
Yeah, say so.
You know, and I immediately started putting in work. It was actually last 2 Novembers ago, I think, when I first started. So it's been wonderful.
Awesome, man. So how do you like training in your garage overall? Any big hurdles you have to overcome?
Well, you know, a lot of my friends, like, especially due to COVID and resource limitations, a lot of my friends like, yo, if I had it in my garage, I'd work out every day. I'm like, yeah, yes, of course you would, right? Of course you would. But the only real limitations, again, are just mental. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like it. That doesn't go away. It's because I have a garage next door. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I don't feel like it a certain day, you know, you kind of go through. I have like a protocol that I go through. Like, all right, why don't I feel like it? Have I eaten? Have I been drinking enough? Is this like a physical reason? And then I start to look at like my journal. Like, why do I do this stuff? And if I still don't want to do it after doing all that stuff, I'm like, all right, today you probably just need a break. And so that's limits, you know, your typical mental limitations. I got 2 children, a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old. It's not uncommon for me to be doing a workout, and then all of a sudden my garage door opens. Hey, come look at this play I did in Madden, or somebody hit me, or something like that. You know, so I got to hit set, or, you know, stop an AMRAP to come break up a little fight because somebody stole somebody's Oreo cookies or something. But really, it's minor inconveniences.
Yeah, I definitely run into some of those things as well. But I love the level of self-awareness there that you mentioned with just most people, if they're like, I don't feel like it, that's kind of the end of it. They're like, yeah, I don't feel like it, so I'm not doing it. And you're like, okay, what's the bigger reason here? You're looking at journals, you're kind of like doing a self-assessment. I think that's really awesome, man. I think more people should do that more often, because the more times you do that, I feel like you could probably start to like find recurring themes and be like, okay, I don't feel like it on days like this, you know, and I need to try and avoid those days or flip those days. So I think that's really awesome.
When you do the math, I'll probably almost always feel worse not doing it than you did even if you do a short one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So checks and balances.
That's great,
awesome. Perfect, because even on days I don't feel like it, or if I'm like really lethargic or feel like I need better recovery, it's really easy to just jump on the bike. And I always say that I'll do 10 minutes on the bike, but after 10 minutes is gone, it always turns into at least 20 minutes. And then I'm still like sweating afterwards. And it's like, okay, well, this was still better than absolutely nothing.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah. I just tricked myself into that last week. My back was hurting and I was like, I'm going to work out, but I'm not going to do the programmed workout. Maybe I'll just do like 20 or 30 minutes. I don't want to like jack up my back. But then I got 10 minutes into the warm up and I was like, you know what? Maybe I can just do what I was supposed to do today. Probably won't
here.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how it goes.
That's awesome. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, let's get into, you got it.
I got one thing. Yeah. I was actually curious because earlier you said you were doing strength and conditioning for the high school. Is it just for football, or are you doing multiple sports?
I'm doing multiple sports. And so I say strength and conditioning because it sounds really fancy, but I teach weightlifting and I have a football team. I have a football team and a basketball team. No, not a basketball anymore, baseball team. And then the rest of the classes are gen ed students. So, okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome, man. Well, what is the hardest workout you've ever done?
Man, oh man. Okay. So I had to go look in the depths for this one. So can I share my screen?
Here, I think I have to make you the host. Let me hold on a second.
They won't see it on the podcast, but
yeah, we'll have to explain it.
Okay. Let me see. Boom. Thank you. So I went and found, so this was, and to me, this is like classic CrossFit stuff. Like the guy I was working with is my trainer.
That's way too much running for CrossFit. That's way too much. You don't run that long. It's over 20 minutes.
So I came in, this was like probably like, maybe like the next to last session we had before I moved. And I remember looking at the board being like, all right, it's tough, but I'm tough. I got this. And probably around, you can see like the little marks, it's a 35-minute time cap. I don't know if you can see it at the very top. It's a 35-minute time cap.
Oh, yeah.
But I was all good with everything. Oh, by the way, it was 110 degrees outside. So when we had to run,
Vegas spring.
Yeah, you're right. So it was, hey, run to the stop sign and back. Cool, no problem. But by like the fourth time, I'm like, oh my God. And then, with the time cap, you don't really want to stop and get water and stuff like that. So since people can't see it, let me go with it. So section 1 is 200-meter run, 10 ring rows, 200-meter run, 10 push-ups, 200-meter run, 10 air squats, 200-meter run, 20 step-ups. That's the first chapter. 200-meter row, 20 ring rows, 200-meter row, 20 push-ups, 200-meter row, 20 air squats, 200-meter row, 40 step-ups. And really, it was the step-ups that were killing me. I remember specifically at this point, the 40 step-ups, I was like, that's where I was lumbering the most. Push-ups, no problem. Ring rows, no problem. But the step-ups, man. Then 400-meter run, 30 ring rows, 30 push-ups. 400-meter run, 30 air squats, 60 step-ups. I remember at this point being like a lot of really bad words going through my head. Just like, and then the last chapter, 400-meter row, 30 ring rows, 30 push-ups. 400-meter row, 30 air squats, 60 step-ups. So yeah, second time for the same set. So that one is one that I probably will always remember as being one that like brutally crushed me, absolutely crushed me.
Yeah, that's a lot. It's just a lot of stuff to do. I've done workouts like that where you do get halfway and you're like, we're still doing this? We're still going to keep.
Yeah.
That one's kind of in the same vein as the EO35K because you have calisthenics and then a bunch of running and repeating that, and where it doesn't look very much, but it always escalates quicker than you think.
It looks like that was like Stairway to Heaven with the EO35K, like kind of like mashed together a little bit.
Don't get any ideas. I'm good.
We
already made one to be yourself
Saturday. After that broken arrow, I was like, oh man, I met myself and I'm gonna tell myself goodbye.
I mean, can you click the 3 dots over my name and then make me the host again? Or else I won't actually be able to stop the recording when we finish. But yeah, the temperature makes it a huge difference. I had a friend, it was just this morning, he messaged me and said, I just did my first 100-mile ride on the Peloton. So he's like, I think I'm ready to tackle the hotter than hell with you. So generally, other than COVID times, I do once a year, 100-mile ride in Wichita Falls, Texas. But it's like really hot. It's like 110 degrees, like you're saying. And I was like, there's a difference. Just so you know, a Peloton in your bedroom,
right,
in 68 degrees or whatever, is going to be very different than the 110 degrees on actual roads. But he thinks he's ready. I'm not telling him any of this. Hopefully he doesn't listen to this podcast. No, dude, you are totally ready. Let's go. I'll meet you in Wichita Falls. Let's do it. But yeah, that weather changes everything. So that workout plus the temps would be crazy.
Yeah. The sun, even more, I'm just like the weather, the sun is a whole nother beast. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Las Vegas is like being in a roasting oven. You know what I'm saying? There's no trees. There's just the black top and the sun. It's just like that. You know?
Oh man. Well, in your opinion, what's the best activity for building mental toughness?
You know, this question, man. This one was a really tough one for me. So I can only come back to seeking authentic faith. Seeking authentic faith, for me, as a person who is naturally skeptical, a person who is a person who's really like inclusive of a lot of thought. For me, mental toughness for me is being able to exclude things that, like, not majoring in minors and being able to focus in on one thing. And so for me, over the past 3 years, since my wife really has, she thrived after breast cancer. So that really like accelerated my level of searching for my faith, in terms of like, I was just going on Sundays and that was good enough, but then we kind of moving towards serving. And now the whole goal is to like kind of reform self. And so I think about mental toughness. The only two things I think about is seeking authentic faith, like real, actual faith that I actually have in my heart and in my head, that I can, when times call for a decision of values clashing, I will choose the right thing. Or raising kids. That's the other. Raising children.
Both
when you know that
phenomenal answers. Everything
you do will be either mirrored or brought back upon you in 5 years with a different interpretation of what actually happened to you. So.
Right. That's awesome, man. I think that's great answers all around. Now, if you could only have one piece of equipment to train with for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Had to be the barbell, baby. There's nothing fancy about that answer. You know what I'm saying? I like kettlebells. They're cool. I like dumbbells. They're cool. But give me a barbell and some bumper plates. I probably just need 25s or 35s, and I can just go at it. You know what I'm saying? I get with the Olympic, the squats, the press, the thrusters. I'll make it work. By the time, at the end of time, I'll probably start doing like you and getting on the little juggler. Looking like Donatello with the bow staff. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, there it is.
Picking up new skills.
Yeah.
Right.
So what's something you would want to add to your gym?
GHD. A GHD machine. I don't have the space for it, but man, if I get a GHD machine, I would like lower back, hamstring strength is one of the toughest movements to continually to add variety and still be able to challenge yourself in a safe manner. And so the GHD, in my opinion, provides for that a lot. So, and I think when you walk into somebody's gym and they have a GHD, you're like, oh, this is next level.
They're actually serious. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got my eye on the Scout at some point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, that's the reverse hyper. Never mind.
Well, I think they stopped. I was telling so many people about it, and then I told my buddy, and he's like, yeah, I don't think they make that anymore. PRX Performance, they were doing it was like a reverse hyper GHG that folded up against the wall. So, and then you could fold it down, and so it was a huge space saver. And I was telling people about it. I didn't need it because I already have like a reverse hyper and stuff, but then you can like find pictures of it online, but they don't actually sell it anymore. So I don't know. I don't know the full story of it, or maybe it wasn't as popular or whatever, or maybe it was just ripping out of people's walls and it wasn't actually working. I don't know what actually happened, but that one was a great option when you have limited space. But now, I don't know.
My second one would be I've been looking at this. I think it's called an Abrams. I think it's called an Abrams tank, but it's like a magnetic resistance. Now I can't think of the word. A push thingy where you push it. It's really heavy.
Yeah, like a sled.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And so I think about that one because I coach flag football for my son and his kids, and pretty soon our kids are so close and so good in the community that we're gonna, when the older kids go up, I'm just gonna coach both teams until the younger kids move to the older ones. And so really, like, my thought process is like, if we're going to stick together, I might as well start training you guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so if we're going to train, it's football, baby. There's a sled. You know
yeah.
So we're going to be out here in the cul-de-sac, pushing these little 9-year-olds out here doing classes.
That's awesome. All right, man. Well, what is your best advice for all the garage gym athletes out there listening?
Man, best advice for all the garage gym athletes is real simple, man. Stick with it. Just stick with it. There's like Jared says, Joe says, play the long game, right? Like there's days you don't want to do it. There's weeks you don't want to do it. Might be months you don't want to do it. And if you don't want to do it, just find a new it. You know what I'm saying? But stick with it, because there is no time in your life where being strong, being fast, being mobile is not a good thing. And when you need it, whenever that might be, for whatever random reason, when you need it and you ain't got it, you're like, damn, I should have been doing all that. So stick with it, no matter what that is, no matter what track you're on, just stick with it.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Theo, man. I really appreciate you sharing your time with us today and sharing everything else that you have as well. I do appreciate you being a garage gym athlete, and really appreciate it, man.
Awesome, man. Thank you for having me on. I totally appreciate it. It's awesome. Joe, pleasure to meet you as well.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for listening to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. If you want to learn more, go to garagegymathlete.com. You can learn about our training. Let us send you a copy of our book, The Garage Gym Athlete, or you can even get featured on the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. Thanks for listening.